Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, good morning. It's the beginning of the week and we're ready to party. It's my
Exactly. Now,
favorite day.
right, happy Monday to all you traders out there. You know you're happy, right?
Yes,
Now,
sir.
this week, our daily show is going to focus on how to put your network marketing business on the fast track. So, with today, we're going to reveal to you just a few reasons why most network marketers struggle.
Yep. And if are not in a network marketing business or you're not in an MLM, still stay tuned. I was going to say stay tuned. Stay tuned because a lot of the same principles that we're going to teach you network marketers apply to you small business owners who have affiliate products. And also, if you have even small business type products where you're selling lotions and candles, and this stuff still applies, right? But I come from a network marketing background. Christine and I are both, we're not network marketers. We're not traders. We're not affiliate marketers. We're entrepreneurs, people.
Right.
And yes, that does include some network marketing. And for some of you, MLM or network marketing might feel like a dirty word, but in my opinion and my experience, a lot of that comes from the methods that people have used over the years to build these type of companies and this business model. I love the business model because of the fact that just about anybody can reasonably afford, okay, to get involved in the industry. But a lot of times what happens is they're sold into the business, they're told how they can make big money. There's big money to be made, but not unless you have some things in place. Or if you've done it in the past, can you go super quickly? And people want things to go faster. Now, I will say this traditionally, in a brick and mortar business, you're talking 3 to 5 years just to turn a profit. Okay. What I love about network marketing and it along with like selling other people's like products and having being rewarded with like affiliate commissions is that you can get into profit fair much quicker. Okay. Much quicker than you can in like a brick and mortar business. But what we found over the years is that a lot of people struggle in the network marketing industry. And this is not a knock on network marketing leaders. It's not a knock on network marketers who do some of the things that we may talk about, but we had a lot of success, not just myself, but our entire team members who would follow our systems to the letter. I want you to listen to this. People who followed our systems for at least 12 to 18 months would sponsor between 120 to 240 people personally a year. That was our average. That was an average, not our spectacular marketers on our team. What are the average network marketer only sponsors 2 to 3 people. It's like 2.5 or 2.7 people, depending on like if you look at whose statistics you look at ever in their whole lifetime career in the network marketing industry, 2 to 3. Our teams would sponsor 120 to 240 people on average. All right, 10 to 20 people a month personally. So the reason is because we did things almost the exact opposite of everyone else in the network marketing industry. And I think that for me, I got, let's call it luck. Okay. I got lucky early on because I was able to partner with somebody who had come from traditional business, multi-million dollar business industry, and took a look at the network marketing industry and said, let's run this like a real business would run it, which would be through methods that are not the same methods that the network marketers, top network marketers teach. Okay. So let's just talk about some of the reasons that network marketers struggle. And you may find one or more of these really, really resonate with you. All right. First of all, you come in, you don't have a system in place that is going to duplicate activities and multiply leaders. People talk about we have to duplicate, and they're thinking, first of all, they're thinking about duplicating people. That's not what you're trying to duplicate. You're looking to duplicate the having activities that are duplicatable, things that everybody can do, right?
Right. And do easily.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's too hard to do, then you run into the issue that I had. I love this week's topic because we're going to share with you a lot of the heartache, the headache that we went through. And we actually have a solution. So, well, I can't wait till we get to that. But
Me too.
stay tuned.
stay tuned. And then we need to be multiplying leaders. That's really what you're looking to multiply. Everybody on your team is going to be a leader. And if you're in a good company, you have a lot of customers. That means people who aren't involved in the business. Okay. And this one I want you to pay very close attention to. If you are in a network marketing company, if that compensation plan or that rewards plan or whatever they call it at your company takes hundreds or even thousands of customers to create a full-time income, all right, so if your compensation plan takes more than 100 customers to create a six-figure income, we need to talk. Reach out to us, okay? Because here's what my experience is. I'm 99% sure that if you're listening to this, you're not even sure exactly how many customers you need to create six figures. You don't even know what that number is. You have maybe an idea, but you've never actually sat down and figured out exactly what needs to be done. But I'll tell you what, if it's more than 100, we need to talk. And that's going to be for most of you.
Like, would you like to create a business that you have to have hundreds of thousands of people coming in the doors to be profitable? Or would you like to create a business model that gives you the ability to use the minimum amount of effort to put in the fewest steps to get you from point A to point B, right? Think about that.
And we're not saying that you should leave the company you're with because this isn't how they pay it.
Right.
We're telling you that there is a little thing that you need to marry on to what you're doing to make sure that you can create six figures or a full-time income that might be 50,000 for you or 100,000 for you, whatever it is, to get to a place where, you don't need to be working with this ridiculous amount of people, 200, 300, 400, 500, just to get to 600, just to get to a six-figure income. Okay.
Right.
Another thing is that we find that a lot of network marketers, they either don't market their business, right? Or they're just talking to this list of family and friends. That's all they're doing. Or they market to the wrong audience, right? People who don't even have an interest in what they're doing, whether it's the product, the service, or the business side of things, the compensation plan, right?
Right. Like, would you go out and would you talk to dog lovers about your dog grooming business? Or would you stand there and throw flyers in the wind and have them going to people who love mice and gerbils and who don't have pets, who just got babies, right? Who would you market to? What are you marketing to right now? Like, these are just some of the questions that you want to take a look at, right? Because people throwing flyers in the streets was just a waste of ink and paper.
There is a very specific list of types of professions that you want to be targeting, that if you want to be on the fast track. It doesn't mean that you ignore everybody else or you don't bring your friend or your mom or cousin into your business. It means that how fast do you want to go? You can become wealthy slow or fast. Now, we're not saying quick, right? But I'm saying faster by just shifting who you're targeting. All right. Now, there are people who are marketing out their business. All right. And we've told, if you've been on any of our training calls in the past with me anyway, I always tell you guys, if you're not putting your business in front of 10 quality people a day or 50 people a week, we need to talk. It's 50, guys, and social media doesn't count. Why? You don't know.
Yeah.
If you have 50 new quality people looking, you don't know that for sure, right? It's new people. It's not the same 50 over and over and over again. It's 10 new people a day. If you're not there, we need to talk, right? So for those that do market their business, the other thing that can also happen is if you're doing say you're doing some paid marketing, either the expenses, they just stay constant, or they start to steadily increase over time. Actually, if you're doing things right, your marketing expenses do increase over time, but you found a way to make them kind of disappear. And this is just a secret hidden thing. And we're going to talk about that. Christina and I, the big secret is we're going to do a training for registered people who register for our event. But there's a secret to eliminating the expense of marketing while the marketing expense increases. It's like, what? how does that even make sense? We'll talk about it. Another thing that I've seen, people in network marketing, they focus on quantity. Sometimes you'll hear this like, oh, they'll take anybody who fogs up a mirror, right? So they're just constantly trying to get people into the business. It's like throwing spaghetti up against the wall and seeing which noodles stick, right? Instead of they're focusing on that quantity, like as many people as I can get. And then they're not really focusing on the quality of the customer. And then what happens on the back end is that they're creating massive dropout very quickly. People come in and out like a revolving door. Has that happened to you? Are you in network marketing? Yes, the answer is yes. I already know it's yes.
Right.
And it's going to happen no matter what you do, but there are things that you can do before they enroll to make sure that you're bringing us someone of quality or someone who's ready to make the commitment that's required to do the business before you get them enrolled, to make sure that you're minimizing the dropout on the back end, right?
I think that's the most excited thing, or the biggest part that I'm most excited about sharing with you guys is how to actually qualify people, because you want people in the business for the long run. And that's one of the things that like I said, I'm most excited to go over with everybody. That's the one thing that actually was the turning point in my business. So I'm happy that I'm so happy that we've decided to do this class for you guys.
Me too.
Because just like, so I know some of you guys out there have things in place and you have things that are working, but some of what we're going to be sharing inside of this class is that it's going to be that aha moment for you. It's going to be that turning point. It's going to be the one thing that you didn't think about that's going to make a huge difference for you. But that, for me, qualifying people is probably, like, learning that is probably the most, like, the most beneficial thing that I've learned so far.
And this one, and I know I'm going to ruffle some feathers saying this, but selling, presenting, and closing people into the business is one of the reasons people struggle. Closing is a dirty word for me. If I hear, oh, I'm going to bring so-and-so to close, is so dirty to me. And I'll tell you why. Okay. And it doesn't mean that the people who use the language are bad or anything like that, but this is why it's a dirty word to me. If you're looking to bring in, so we have two types of people we bring into our network marketing: customers, and then distributors, IBOs, whatever you call it, representatives. Every company calls it something different, affiliate. So if we're selling people into the product or service, we got to be careful we're not exaggerating, hyping things up, because if they don't get the value that you presented on the product, whether or the service, right? They're not going to keep buying it. Okay. Now let's look at it from the business side of things. If you sell and present and close, is there selling, presenting going on? Yes, because that's what the tools are for, though. You don't need to be doing that part, number one. But the selling and the closing are the ones that I really don't like, because what's happening, what is really happening, or I'd say what should be happening when you bring somebody into your network marketing business to do the business side of things. They should not be making a buying decision. They should be making a working decision. Do they want to do the work?
Mm-hmm.
If you sell them and close them into the business, you're going to have to sell them and close them every time you want them to get to work. Every single time you're going to have to sell them into doing the work. It's like pushing a wheelchair. How many wheelchairs can you push effectively at one time? One, and you can maybe kind of push two, kind of, if you had to, but that's it. And so when you're selling and you're closing people into the business, well, I'm going to bring so-and-so into close. So what should you be doing instead, right? You should be trying to make sure that you get the right people, the right information in the right way, so they can do what? Make the right decision for themselves. Right. And so I always feel very good when I know I've gotten people all the right information in the right way. I like to do it in digestible chunks for them. And if they decide that something's not for them, I feel good about it because I presented them with good information and they were able to make an educated decision. My job is not to talk them into doing the business. If I have to talk them into it, you're going to talk them into it every week when it's time to work the business, every single week. Right. So when you're selling, presenting, and closing people into a business, they're not buying a refrigerator from you. Okay. Let's say you were a refrigerator salesperson and they came in, They got this refrigerator. You told them how you hyped it all up, right? You presented, you closed the sale. They took the refrigerator home. And after a while, they're like, yeah, I wish I wouldn't have bought this refrigerator. But you know what? They still have the refrigerator. When you sell people into a network marketing business, they don't have, if they decide that they have buyer's remorse, they don't have anything to show for it because it required that they made a working decision and they didn't. They made a buying decision and now they have remorse and there's nothing they can do. They don't have any tangible products at home. Like if we sold them a car or refrigerator, that's a whole different thing. And even then, we still want to help people make the right decision on their purchases, right? That's what a good salesperson does. So yeah. Anything you want to add to that, Christina, or do you want to ask me anything? Because
so what happens if like they don't know how to make money after their prospect says no? Like that's one of the things that I was struggling with.
Mm-hmm. So that is what happens to most people. And again, we're talking network marketers today, MLMers. Not a dirty word to me. I love MLM. It's paid a lot of bills and took me on a lot of vacations. Okay. So we're huge fans. We're just not huge fans of like how it's done traditionally. Okay. What happens when people say no is that for most of you out there, you're just like, well, that's done. On to the next. You can make money when your prospects say no. If you have other things to offer them, they might be interested in. Okay. And I'm not going to get into that. It's like, well, how can I be doing 3, 4, 5, 6 different things? Well, you kind of don't, but you do. And then we're going to talk about that later, right? Another thing that happens, and we're going to come back to that because you can make money when your prospects say no. I just want to make that really, really clear. We're going to dive into it deeper on the training call. But if you don't know how to do that, you should be tuning in. Okay. Now, another thing is the product or service, and this may make you rethink your network marketing company. Most of the stuff I'm talking about here, you don't have to rethink your company. We just have to rethink the way we're doing things within the company. But this one, you do want to think a little bit. All right. If the product or service that is being offered through your company, and by the way, there's like 2,000 plus network marketing companies. We're not here to tell you one is better than another. As long as you have good products and the fair compensation plan, we're fine. Doesn't mean we want to join yours. We have things that we do that interest us, but we're not here. I'm not here to throw other companies under the bus like so many people do. We're all in this together as an industry and entrepreneurs. And I feel like we should be lifting people up, even if they're not doing the same things we're doing. Okay. I don't need to bash your company to make mine look better. Okay. But the product or service, if it doesn't have standalone value, meaning somebody would buy it and purchase it for at that price point without a compensation plan attached to it, without the network marketing side attached to it, it's an issue. Okay. Because it's important to have a product or a service that people feel good about buying, whether they want to do the business or not. Every single thing that Christina and I are involved in, I feel has standalone value. It has enough standalone value. The education, we have a couple of different types of education companies we represent. I believe that education they could charge way more for it. Okay. Way more for it than they do. And it's worth it whether there's a network marketing compensation plan attached to it or not. Okay. We have like silver, for example. You're going to pay about the same price for that silver other places. So I don't feel like people are getting they're having to pay more for it where we get our silver. Okay. Right. I represented a web hosting company for a long time. It was $10 a month for this web hosting. You heard me talk about it on another call where we earned $1 per customer. $10 a month for everything they gave us was comparable to other hosting companies, $10 a month for the same stuff without a compensation plan. So I felt good about that $10 a month. If people have to pay more just because they have to pay the upline, it's not a good sign, right? It's just not. So you do want to take a look at your network marketing company's products and services and remove the comp plan from it. and say, would I still buy this at this price point if this was not a network marketing business? Does that make sense? That makes sense to me. Now,
let's see.
Are you getting a phone call?
Somebody from the team is calling.
It's probably an accidental dial.
Yeah, there we go. I couldn't find what window it was in. Okay.
That happens a lot in our chat. Have you noticed? Like people.
Yeah, people just like hit the button, I think.
Right. And everybody gets on, nobody's there.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you have if your business has a great product, right? You have great ideas, but you can't get people on board. Don't think that it's the product. Sometimes it's just a messaging.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just need to reword things. And we talked about earlier, sometimes you're not talking to the right people. And we want to make sure that you have that system, that you have that blueprint of how to do that, because that can make a huge difference as to whether people stay on or stay off.
I'll give you an example. If you're in a nutritional company and they sell nutritional type products, all right, I get hit up almost daily by other networkers. Okay. And I don't mind. It doesn't bother me. You can hit me up all day long. If you're a networker, I'll still talk to you. Doesn't mean I'll join your business, but I'm not like one of these people that gets offended, because I like building relationships with other networkers. However, if you're a nutritional company, this is just an example. If you're sitting there talking to people about all the ingredients and how your little like powder that you sell is better than the other company's powder because your herbs are grown 30 feet higher up on the mountain than this company's herbs, then that is not what people need to know about. Okay.
Right.
You get stuck in these technical things, and that happens a lot. I see in the nutritional stuff, but other things too. People want to know how it makes them feel. How are they going to feel after they use the products? Even with us, with trading, like if we sat there and told you all this little technical stuff, it's cool that we have all these things, these tools and things you can use, but really how are you going to feel when you're able to come into the markets and take money out anytime you feel like it? Maybe not any day, but any month that you feel like it, because you've learned the skills. If you're sitting there talking about all the little technical things and the features instead of the benefits, people do not care about features as much as they care, well, what does that mean for me? What do I get out of this? Right. Yeah. So you're giving them your list of ingredients and saying that's because this one specialized formula and this and that. Okay, cool. Maybe that's why it's unique to your company, because it's patented. They can't get anywhere else. But it's like, they don't need to know all that unless they're looking for an allergy list. Okay. Because I do. I have a lot of allergies. So a lot of nutritional stuff is not good for me, but because I get allergic to something in it. But that's the only reason. Like, I look at it because I want to know if I'm going to feel bad after
Right. Exactly.
You know, how
you want to know how it's going to benefit you, how it's going to affect you, what change is going to happen in your life as a result. And that's how you should be promoting your businesses, you know, instead of comparing against other companies. Like if they're looking at you, chances are they're already at least a little interested in what you do and they need more information. So how do you present that to them in a way that's going to speak to what's in it for them, you know?
Sometimes people will ask me, like, what's the downside of what you do? You know what? I tell them, because everything that I've ever done has some kind of con, right? And so instead of trying to fluff everything up all the time, I'll say, well, this is the one thing that I wish was a little better.
Different, yep.
People appreciate the honesty, right? You know, and so, and I don't feel like I have to knock somebody else's product to uplift mine. Like Christina said, like your stuff should be able to stand on its own merit without bashing something else, because be careful, because your company might go away and you might end up in the other one you were bashing.
Exactly.
But I changed my mind, right? So yeah. If you are also in an organization where you're either your team leaders are not developing leadership within the organization, or even if you are, and Christina and I, we have to be careful because we are kind of control freaks, and you have to not control everything, and you have to let people step up and do things within the organization. It could just be baby steps, but there's this misconception that people are born leaders. Most leaders develop.
Exactly.
Okay. And so you want to be developing leadership within the organization, because if you don't, it gets very bottlenecked, right? So it's like, that's why some people get a little upset with me, but they'll call me and I'll say, have you talked to your sponsor or your sponsor's sponsor I get why they want to jump up and just get a hold of me directly. But if we're not all learning in between, then it's going to be a bottleneck because I'm
Right.
one person. So I should be working with my 12 leaders. Those 12 should be working with their 12 leaders or whatever the number is, right?
Mhm.
And throughout and creating those layers of leadership that I've talked about so much inside of this industry and really within any organization, not just network marketing, is creating leaders. Not everybody is going to be a leader on your team. Okay. Some of them are, if you're doing your job, you have a lot of customers, people who just want the product. That's what keeps the business going, not having just a bunch of distributors and that's all they're doing is trying to push the MLM compensation plan all the time, right?
Right. And
So,
then you also have that part of like your business where you kind of need to build the leadership because you have people like me who are brand new to what you're doing. I've never done network marketing before until I joined one of the opportunities that we're in. Now, after that, it was like, yay, full throttle. But first, I was not aware of the things that I should or shouldn't do, or how to conduct meetings, or how to build other leaders. I've been a leader in corporate America before, but all of that information doesn't translate over into network marketing. So, like having the ability to develop people in your organization is extremely important to your growth, so that you can kind of alleviate that bottleneck because you have new people who will be joining as well.
yeah, and just identifying the potential in people, right? And encouraging them. It may be, like Christina said, their first time in doing anything like this, and they're going to need your support and your team. And so, I do look to the organization, and I may not be your sponsor, but maybe the next leader down is 5 levels down. So I'm going to work with the leader because I don't want to get bottlenecked.
Mhm.
And so you want to develop those layers within your organization. It's that whole layers of leadership concept that we've talked about for 20 years. And that's true of any organization, really. If you think about even like say football, there's layers of coaches, right? Like, so you're having different types of leadership within your organization. But I find that sometimes there's somebody on the team who just wants to do everything. And then you have people who don't want to do nothing. Forget about those people. Can't do anything for them people. So I'd rather have somebody who's trying to do too much than someone who doesn't want to do anything, because we can scale back
Mhm.
and teach you guys how to delegate and bring up your leaders. But if you don't want to do anything, it's just, this requires effort. I don't care what kind of business you're building. So can't do a lot for you.
Right.
So this is a new concept. People are struggling because they build linearly instead of geometrically.
Oh, well, what does that mean though?
What that means is they're trying to build one person at a time. They make their list or whatever, or they target a type of audience where just one person is looking at their business at a time. Did you know that there are marketing methods that allow you to sponsor groups of people all at once? It's a much faster build. And I'm not talking about, well, we do group Zooms. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about not the way you present, but the type of people that you're targeting. There is a whole list. I think let's give it as a bonus when people register for our webinar. Let's do that. I'm going to
I,
put a PDF
yeah.
together.
Let me write it down.
Yep. We'll put a PDF together. And if you get on the webinar and you stay through the whole entire training, we'll give this to you, is a list of the type of people that you should be targeting in your network marketing business, because they are the type of people who are connected. And they're the type of people that are connected with other people who are connected to other people who are connected to other people. This is why it's geometric growth instead of one at a time. One at a time. That doesn't mean that you don't sponsor other people that don't fall into these categories, but where is your main energy and focus flowing? What type of people that you're bringing in? So there is a way to grow much faster by targeting and bringing groups of people in all at once. Think about it. You got this guy, he targets, he brings in 1 or 2 guests to the training. We got this guy who targets a very specific type of person. They come on and they bring 4 or 5 people to the Zoom with them. They all enroll all at once. So this guy's rolling 1 or 2 people. This person is rolling 5 altogether.
Mhm.
So we'll talk about that in our training too.
Just imagine how your business grows when you're when you're throwing out a wider net,
Mm-hmm.
when you start to like get into why and how, and then you start to practice some of the things. I'm definitely going to be looking for some feedback from you guys when we give you, because we will be giving you homework, right?
Of
But I'm
course.
definitely going to be looking forward to some of the feedback. And I want you to, we're going to continue to talk about writing things down and documenting things. Make sure that when you start, you go ahead and document your progress and keep us like abreast of everything that's happening, because we're here to help. But document your progress so that you can see the things that you've done and how well they've worked in comparison to what you're doing right now.
And you know what? I'm going to talk about one last thing, because I know we're running out of time for our show. But one last thing: why networkers are struggling, network marketers are struggling, because they're either building one income stream, because that's what their upline said. You got to stay focused on one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to make it if you don't focus right here. First of all, let me just give this a side note. Your upline, even though you guys know I don't like that word, they have a vested interest to make sure you're not looking anywhere else. And it's personally to their pocketbook. Okay. I'm just going to tell you that. One. Two, they also may be telling you this because they don't know any better. They just don't know. They've never did anything that brought multiple income streams in before. And they think that because they're doing hotel meetings and Zooms and all this, they're like, well, how can I do this for 5 or 6 income streams? You don't. That's the answer. And we'll talk about that on their training, right? So they're either building one income stream, or they're like, but I do buy into multiple income streams. That makes sense, right? But they're doing it with multiple focuses. I do believe in focusing in one place, but why one place I focus brings in many checks.
Right.
So it's still, I actually do subscribe to one focus, one effort, but multiple checks. I'm telling you, once you get, and it used to be checks. Now it's just like deposits, right? It's very rare you get a check in the mail, but I used to get like 4, 5, 6 checks in the mail all at once, one effort, go down to the bank, put them all in. You know, those bank tellers they're like, oh, man, whole bunch of checks. You think they'd want to know how you got them all, but they don't really care, right? So you go and you make your deposits. Now most stuff is just auto deposited, but having multiple deposits coming in, multiple checks, multiple deposits, this is what's really, really key if you're a struggling network marketer. But one focus creates it all. Okay.
Right. And don't think that your upline, your sponsors, the people who are bringing you into some of these companies don't have multiple streams of income, although they're telling you focus on this. Don't ever think that, because if they're multi 6, 7 figure earners, that came from multiple places. So
they took that money and they got into real estate, and they got this, they're doing crypto over here, and they've got other things going on.
Right. So at the end of the day, like, and I hate to say this, but it's true. Because of what's going on globally, some people woke up with jobs one day, and then the next day they woke up without them, and they only had one stream of income, and that was devastating to their family and to their lifestyle. So start to just even think about what additional streams you could create, maybe like we're saying, based off of the area that you're passionate about, that you're involved in now, because there's a way to do it.
And if you're in a network marketing business, people do not like me talking about this, and I'm going to keep talking about it because they're like, oh, but you're manifesting the wrong energy. No, I'm being a smart business person. If you don't sit on the board of directors and have control over how your network marketing company works, how they pay, the products that come in, how they handle, legal issues, which we don't, okay? That one network marketing business could be gone tomorrow. And it doesn't mean it will, right? And it doesn't mean we're hoping for it and praying for it. It doesn't mean that we're trying to manifest negative energy and that, but we should be focused. It means that I have had it happen on more than one occasion. I've seen companies that are 20 years old be gone in one day. And what if that's your only check coming in? You are screwed. It's not just that, you only have this job income. Now you have this one MLM, you do nothing else, and you're screwed, right? And so that, and I do hate talking about it because this is kind of stuff that kind of gives our industry a bad name. There are wonderful companies that have been around for decades, but I've also seen that companies have been around for decades that are gone. I have people say, "Oh, is this Amway?" And I go, "Well, I sure the heck hope so." You know how long they've been around? So yes, I actually. They're like, "What?" Because they're saying it in a negative way, and I'm going, "Yes, I hope this company is another Amway because it means they're going to be here in 70 years still, right?"
Right.
But we don't know for sure. I would rather have 5 checks coming in at $2,000 a piece than one check coming in at 10,000. I don't care about the ranks. I care about having multiple checks coming in, but you're not ranked over there yet. But I have just as much money coming in as the rank guy, and it's a lot safer.
Right. Like at the end of the day, you hope for the best, but you plan for the worst.
Right.
You want to have a backup plan because who has your back? You do. Okay. Just putting that out there.
Absolutely. And if your team knows, the retention is so much bigger. And this is why we were able to, and I got out of network marketing for a long time. But when I was in it, we retained the majority of our teams when we had companies fail us. We never failed a single company. We came in, we put the people in, we brought the customers, the IBOs, the distributors, we did our part. They failed us because for whatever reason, not because they were a scam, but because they didn't make it as a business. Businesses sometimes don't make it as a business, or they changed our comp plans. It's to a point where it wasn't very lucrative for us to even rep for them anymore. So what happens is for us, most of our team was retained because we had 5 other checks coming in. So it was like, oh well, we'll just replace that one. It's no big deal. Where people who were only focused on the one company, they were devastated. Their whole income was gone, just like that, right? And it's like if I have 5 $2,000 a month checks coming in and one's gone, I still have 8 grand coming in. Their 10 grand was gone. So for those of you who are like, quit talking like that, I will talk like this all the time because it just is smart business to make sure that no, you don't want your efforts all over the place, but there are ways to have one effort with multiple checks to protect your livelihood, your family's livelihood, your sweat equity, your tears that you've put into
Right.
what you do is worth something. And, I'm all about capital preservation before anything else. And we learn a lot of that in trading, right? As well.
Exactly.
Preserve your capital and pay yourself.
Yep.
It applies across the board. So that's our rant for today. Like this, if any of this resonated with you, and I know there's at least one, right? If your company's not paying you out 6 figures with a team of less than 100, if you're not building multiple income streams, and I don't mean 6 income streams, but they have 6 different ways they pay, it's still one check from the same company. You're still
Right.
at risk. Okay. So these different things, if you don't know how to bring groups of people in instead of one person at a time, we definitely need to talk.
Right. Like if what we've gone over resonated with you, if you had one of those, you know what? That feels like me moments, then we need to talk. So we're doing a special private registration only training next week, right? This will not be on the show. Okay. It's not going to be on any of our social medias. You're not going to be able to find the recording on YouTube. This is for those of you who want to take action. If you're serious about your home business, if you're a home business entrepreneur who wants to stop struggling creating customers and enrolling people in your business, this class is going to be for you. So we're going to teach you how to put your home business income on the fast track. Okay. And also, if you tune in tomorrow, we'll reveal how to register for our fast track private training so that you guys can start preparing for that. Bring pen and paper. Okay. You're going to need it. We're bringing the heat for you. And we have some PDFs that you'll be able to take with you. And of course, we're going to give you some homework. Okay.
And that's all we're going to say about that today. You'll have to tune in tomorrow. We'll give you some more info then. I'm not saying anything else.
Right. Well, you guys have an awesome and productive day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. And we will see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.